Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's my very great pleasure to welcome you this morning to the University of Hong Kong and to this two-day education conference entitled, very succinctly in English at least, We Need Choices. And as Cam and Sandy have been explaining, this conference is organised by the charity eDiversity, and as you'll see from the poster and the programme booklet and the screen up there, by the Faculty of Education of the University of Hong Kong. Now, eDiversity is a charity formed by parents, and as the foreword in the programme booklet makes very, very clear, it's a charity formed out of frustration with the current education system in Hong Kong. Now, we at Hong Kong University, on the other hand, are part of that system, with admission to our university being seen as the ultimate goal for many young people and their parents. So, if we are part of that system, why are we co-organising an event like this, which is born out of frustration with the system? Well, if I may, let me take a few moments to offer my own perspective as a parent and as an educator. I have 4 children and 3 grandchildren, soon to be 4. And as my wife and I observe our own children becoming parents, we find ourselves re-engaging with all the questions and the struggles that absorbed our attention when our own children were young. All of us as parents want the very best for our children. And as parents, we know that each of our children is an individual with individual characteristics, talents, interests, and needs. We want that individuality to be nurtured, not suppressed, so that our children can be enabled to grow up as happy and fulfilled adults who be given the opportunities and the encouragement to pursue their interests and to develop their talents to the full. And for that to happen, we do indeed need choices, choices which the mainstream education systems around the world don't necessarily offer. If we take Hong Kong as an example, the mainstream education system does indeed appear to be set up as so vividly depicted on the conference poster, on the programme cover, and on the transparencies that you saw earlier as a one-size-fits-all approach, which is largely geared to preparing students for the diploma in secondary education, the public exam, which determines achievement of what is seen as the ultimate goal, access to the university. And with an overemphasis on formal classroom teaching, homework, and tests. For those of us who work within the mainstream education system in Hong Kong, whether in schools or within the tertiary sector, we certainly operate within the constraints of a competitive system. However, in the interest of balance, I do think it's important to acknowledge the changes that have gone on within the mainstream system in recent years that have led to improvements in our ability to cater for diversity and to offer choice. The reform of the school curriculum, starting with this 2001 document, Learning to Learn, has undoubtedly had a positive impact, devolving more responsibility for curriculum development onto schools. And during the 12 years of implementing the reformed curriculum, there have been other important developments, including the fine-tuning of the medium of instruction policy, which has given schools greater autonomy to decide on their medium of instruction, and the move towards inclusive education, both of which can be seen as steps in the right direction in terms of promoting greater choice and enhancing the system's capacity to cater to the individual. We have also dropped one of the 2 high-stakes tests, which previously had such a stifling negative backwash effect on secondary school teaching and learning in Hong Kong. There's now greater choice in the post-secondary sector, with community colleges and self-funded degree awarding institutions offering a range of programs. And within universities such as our own, following the curriculum changes in 2012, students are given a vast array of choices within their formal curriculum, their majors and the Common Core curriculum, as well as in their co-curricular activities. At the moment, of course, they're exercising choice of a different kind, whether to come to class or to sit in the street in Admiralty, or in many cases both, by coming to class in the morning and then putting in a shift in Admiralty or Mongkok later in the day. However, for many of us working within the system, and I'm sure for many of you as parents, the pace of change has not been fast enough. There may be many ways in which the rhetoric of this learning to learn document has not been carried through to an ideal level of implementation throughout the system. But I've mentioned this learning to learn document a few times because it was a groundbreaking policy document, certainly in the Hong Kong context. It pointed us in a different direction by refocusing our attention on learning and the learner. And we saw Professor Chen Guiming talking in that video at the beginning, and he's saying similar things in the foreword to the program booklet, where he talks about this refocus on learning as being back to basics, bringing learning back to education and restoring student learning as the core of education. For practitioners and researchers alike, learning in its various forms is increasingly taking centre stage. In our own faculty, for example, one of our 3 strategic focal research areas is the sciences of learning, a theme which draws together interdisciplinary teams of researchers seeking to contribute to theory building and evidence-based policies and practices related to learning. If we focus on learning, then we know that humans learn in very diverse ways and that our children need opportunities for exposure to a variety of approaches to learning and to a very wide range of learning experiences. And whatever improvements may have been made within the Hong Kong education system in the 21st century, there is clearly still room for further change so that the system genuinely embraces diversity and offers real choices to parents and to children. Now, at the beginning of my welcoming words, I asked why we, as a Faculty of Education, which is very much part of the mainstream education system, would be co-organising this event with eDiversity, a group which has formed organically as a result of parental frustration with that system. I hope that I've succeeded in answering that question. We are not on opposite sides of the fence. We are all, parents and educators, on the same side, seeking the best for all children and seeking to enhance the variety and the quality of the learning experiences enjoyed by children. Those of us within the system seek to improve that system, to loosen the straitjacket and to provide greater flexibility and choice within schools and within universities. Those outside the system seek to extend choice still further and to enhance the awareness of parents, practitioners and officials of the range of alternatives that exist. This 2-day conference provides you all with a space to explore different approaches to learning and to learn about some of the many choices that exist around the world, both within formal education systems, the Finnish system, for example, and outside the formal system through different models of school, and you saw a whole number of types of model of school, alternative model listed in the PowerPoint earlier, and homeschooling. You'll have the opportunity to find out about these and other choices in the next 2 days. I'm sure that you're going to find these next 2 days both enlightening and stimulating, so let me conclude by welcoming you once more. Let me thank the organisers for all the hard work that has gone into the organisation of this conference. I hope you have a very enjoyable and a very fruitful weekend. Thank you very much.